This segment of DelmarvaLife is sponsored by TidalHealth.
Whether they're playing a game for fun or competing at a high level, athletes undergo intense physical exertion that can, unfortunately, sometimes lead to injury. Now, in the incident of some kind of injury, it can be difficult to properly diagnose and treat it in the moment.
Yeah, but the importance of quickly and effectively treating an injury is more than just alleviating the pain. It can mean avoiding further injuries in the future and allowing athletes to continue their game. So, joining us to discuss that very thing, more about sports medicine, Dr. Andrew Curley and Dr. Joe Whitaker with TidalHealth Orthopedics. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Can I ask a question of each of you? What got you interested? Why focus on sports medicine within the umbrella of orthopedics?
That's a great question. So I was a former athlete myself. I played football and lacrosse both in high school and in college. And during my athletic career, I had several sports injuries myself. One of these injuries ultimately required surgery, and I remember going through that process as a patient, and you're not only worried about the injury itself, but the recovery process and getting back onto the athletic field after that injury.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had a great orthopedic surgeon. He sat me down, he went through my injury, the treatment options, and the recovery course to get me back on the field. So when an athlete comes into my office with a sports injury, I look to provide a similar type of care to that patient. Not only treat their injury, but to alleviate a lot of their concerns and get them back onto the playing field.
Get them back.
How about you?
I was, again, a multi-athlete, growing up, and was always involved with, athletic training, prevention of injuries and everything like that. So, yeah, that's kind of how
that was just the interest.
Yep.
Okay.
So it went.
So explain the role of an orthopedic surgeon in sports medicine.
Oftentimes these sports injuries, they're soft tissue injuries or tears around the joint. And several of these injuries, they can be treated non-surgically with things like physical therapy or injury rehabilitation programs. Other injuries, they may require surgery to get the athlete back to the sport. We evaluate the patient, we determine what their goals are, and ultimately try and determine a good treatment plan to get them back out there on the field.
So how important is it for athletes, gosh, I guess of any and all levels, to get education about preventing these injuries?
So early education and training are really the foundation of prevention.
Right.
Learning the proper techniques when it comes to stretching, when it comes to long runs after that, when it comes to in the gym, using proper techniques in that.
Yeah.
And then when injuries occur, you want to seek a professional with that's athletic training, physical therapy, or an orthopedic specialist.
Do you see a lot of athletes that just want to try to bull their way through? No, I can do this.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Stubborn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on sports specialization, and how can parents and coaches ensure the well-being of our young athletes?
That's a great question. There's pros and cons to single sport specialization. Let's take a baseball or softball pitcher, for example. More focused training on that single sport can help that athlete become better at that sport, so they can become a better pitcher the more that they practice. But if they pitch or play that sport year-round without breaks or properly limiting their pitching volume, over time that can lead to overuse injuries and ultimately set them back in the long run. Additionally, there's the psychological aspect of becoming mentally burned out from just constant, intense training on a single sport. And if an athlete has an interest in playing another sport in the off-season, I encourage the athlete to play that other sport. It gives them a chance to recover and lowers the likelihood of these overuse injuries, but it also works different muscle groups, and it can help them become a more well-rounded athlete overall.
So what advice would you give somebody when it comes to focusing on their joint health?
I guess when you're talking about overuse, you really want to diversify your activities.
Really take care of the full body, not just the ones that are working during said sport, right?
Said sport.
Okay, Dr. Curley and Dr. Whitaker, thank you both for coming in this afternoon.
Wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.